Hi there, welcome to the Podio Academy. This is Podio 201, Emailing to Items and Applications. So in this training, we're going to cover email in two different concepts. One is going to be sending emails to individual items. So each individual item in Podio has a unique email address, and we can use that email address to tag correspondence in an email. So for example, we can take the email address, put it in a carbon copy, and send that off. That correspondence will go into our Podio comments. As long as that email address is in the reply all, and a response will come back into our Podio item as well. So gives you a really simple way to capture some of the back and forth that happens in email into a Podio item. Then we're going to talk about sending emails to apps. So we can actually create new items in Podio by sending emails to a very similar app-specific email address. So, if we've got something like a requests app and somebody sends us an email, we can very easily forward that to a dedicated email address for a request application and have a new item created from that email. So let's pop over to Podio and let's start with our email to items. So I'm going to come over to our projects app and I'm going to pick on test project 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to actions and you'll see one of my options is email to item. If I click this, I'm given two different email addresses. One is an email address I can use that's tied to this item just for me. Another one is a public email address that can be used by anybody. So for sake of this or for purposes of this demo, I'm actually going to grab the public email address and copy that. And I'm going to come over to our test Gmail account and send myself an email. I'm going to put our email address in the carbon copy. And let's just say testing. This is a test of email to item. I'm going to go ahead and send that. And that will be on its way to my progress email address. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is that email will get logged here in our Podio item as well. And there it is. So we saw our email get logged here. This is just a test of email to item. That was the email we just sent. And what I'm going to do on the other screen is go over to my progress email and reply here. And I'm just going to say, thanks for testing, confirmed. And I'm going to go ahead and send that. It'll take a couple seconds here. I've just got the delay turned on in Outlook to send things. Okay, so that email is out. I can see our reply come in here to our test Gmail address. And we should see this show up here in our Podio item as well. And there it is. So it came back in, thanks for testing, confirmed. So again, just a very simple rudimentary way to get emails, copied into Podio items without leaving the context of email. We'll actually talk in the workflow automation videos and some of those courses about how you can trigger emails to be sent from the comments in Podio and responses received. But this is a very straightforward and easy way to do that. Now, let's shift gears and let's talk for a second about email to app. So like I said in the slides, one example that this is good for is I've got a customer requests app. So you'll see here we've got the title, we've got a related project, a status, priority owner, some good fields here that we can use. But let's say somebody sends an email and we need to forward that into the request app. What I can do is I'm going to go over to my progress email and I'm going to send an email to my test Gmail address. Now, as I send that over to my Gmail address, let's talk for a minute about the configuration of this email. Same thing. I can come here from the app. I go to the wrench to the settings and you'll see I've got the email to app function. Now, same kind of setup as before. I've got an email address that I as a user can use specifically. Or if I wanted to, I could, provide this email address to external parties and they could send emails directly to this. But in this case, I'm just going to forward an email to this email address. The other thing we can do though is we can set how we accept the subject and body and map that to our app. So let's come in here and look. And again, email is always kind of tricky because it's very limited to the sender, the subject, and the body being the only fields. But we can do a little bit of mapping here. So let's say the request title is going to be the subject. Let's say the request owner, we can make that be the sender. We can configure whether or not we want files to be attached. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back and get our email address. So again, I'm going to copy this email address. Let's go back to our test Gmail. So here's my project request. I can see, oh, they want to put this on hold. So what I can do is I can forward this into my request application. So I'm going to say, customer asked to put project on hold. I'm going to go ahead and send that. And we'll see that come in here as a new request. Actually, let's come back. We'll see it come into the activity page here.